Hello, wonderful world. It's Jennifer here at Eureka Astrology and Healing, and today we are going to be talking about the Cancer full moon astrological forecast. The Cancer full moon is on January 6, 2023 at 5:07 p.m. Central Standard Time. And as always, this is a general forecast. If you're interested in knowing more about how it's affecting your chart personally, you can always book a reading with me at EurekaAstrologyandHealing.com, and we can talk about how this is impacting your life more directly, because this is just a broad overview. But as always, I like to do these so that we can kind of just get a feel for the energy at large at time, because it still affects us all, right, in unique ways, but it's very important. With that, let's talk about some of the notables. So first and foremost, I just wanted to say that I looked at the chart, I kind of tried to process it, tried to sit with it, even intuit on it, and then I looked at some of my books that I like to refer to for different symbolic meanings with degrees and thinking about the moon, and it just kind of was diffuse, and I was like, what's going on? And so I try to just tap into that energy, and the first thing, when I look at it, it's like, oh, the planets aren't so bunched together anymore. They were definitely piled in Sagittarius for a while, piled in Capricorn, and now things are just kind of getting space. Not everybody. I mean, there's some conjunctions, but by and large, there are 3 planets in Capricorn, and that is still a stellium, and that is a strong amount of energy, but it's not like 5, 6 planets that have been happening for the last like month and a half or so. So I also look, okay, there's a couple in Aquarius, then there's one in Pisces, one in Aries, one in Taurus, one in Gemini, and then and Cancer. And I was like, oh, it's just like we're getting kind of a little bit of air to breathe. It doesn't mean we're not doing things, or to be doing things. Like if you are, you are. But I feel like there's some kind of a pressure being taken off. And with the full moon, though, there's always going to be the pressure of the full moon, right? There's the opposing energies of the sun and the moon. It's a little bit of a tug of war. But some of these intense energies that we were feeling, especially in November, October, and then in the spring, have kind of let off a little bit, which is, in my opinion, nice, right? A great way to start the new year, because really there's a lot more harmonious aspects in this chart than I've seen in a lot of other charts that we've been doing for the full and new moons. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, I can get behind that, even if I don't have like this crystal clear vision of what's, going on. I get the energy of the story. And so a few more notables. Mercury is still retrograde. It will be going direct on the 18th. And so it's retrograde in Capricorn. It's so a lot sober thinking, practical thinking, trying to think about, as we've been talking about with Pluto, there's actual logic coming into, well, what do I need to be building here? What do I need to do to create that? And is it worth doing, right? Maybe I should be letting some things go. And so that is actually conjunct the sun at this full moon. So it's being spotlighted on this full moon. So it's like, okay, hey, like, is that the foundation you really want for yourself moving forward? Because by, I think, mid-April, Capricorn is empty. And that's one of my notables here, is that Capricorn has had a planet in it since 2008. I mean, I did believe Pluto retrograded out of there, but pretty much since 2008, 2009, Pluto's been in there. And in the spring, that's changing. So this is kind of like the wrap it up time, but also like, hey, take care of business here in a very practical, logical way, because we're cleaning up that, foundation that was rotting, or maybe got shaken by an earthquake or whatever, right? Got eaten by some ants, whatever the foundation happened to have some situations with, for all of us in different places, right, in your chart. It could be one place in family, one could be in relationships, one could be in work. It's different for everybody. But it's kind of like a last chance, not a last chance, I shouldn't say last chance. It is the last time for a long time to take the opportunity to work with these energies in a very more broad but intense way, because we have so many planets there. Pluto's not going to be here again for 200 some years. So let's utilize this and take the opportunity to do so. The next notable is that Jupiter has moved back into Aries. It was there in the spring of 2020, then was there for a while, then moved back into Pisces. But now it's not going to move into Pisces anymore, again, for another 12 years. But it's in Aries now, and I feel like it's time to get some things done. It's time to take charge. there could cause a little bit of, there could be a little bit of frustration because Aries is ruled by Mars. And the next notable is that Mars is still retrograde. It's been retrograde for a while. So Jupiter's going to kind of want to like, let's go out of the gate. And Mars is like, not quite yet. Not quite yet. And Mars will be going direct on the 12th. So soon. That's exciting, right? That finally it will be moving forward. I feel like by the 12th, it's like, after. I mean, it's usually not the exact day. Some of those things we wanted to get going and moving forward with, especially if there's dealing with communication, could be siblings, but more so just perspective, short distance travel even, it was going to move forward in a more gracious, easy way than it was. I mean, we might have felt like we kind of been hitting roadblocks, and especially at this full moon, we might feel like we're hitting roadblocks with certain things because Mercury inspires a lot of movement and action, and Mars inspires a lot of movement and action. I mean, Mercury more so with thought, and plans and things. But both those planets that bring motion to our sky in some ways, a little more activity, are kind of going like, hey, let's still continue to work on the inside or redo what we've done already, which most people are like, okay, I've done it once or twice, or I already reassessed this. Can I just go forward? Well, not quite yet. Or if you do, just really make sure you are looking at the things that you're doing. And those are my notables for now. I just feel like we're really getting birthed into a whole new energy, and this is, it's starting to happen here. Not fully wrapped up, like I said, but by the spring, I'm excited to see what happens. For better or worse, right? There's always things that are good and bad in all situations, and I think it'll be quite nice. But let's move into, I like using, as you know, Raven Caldera's moon phase astrology book for the name of the moon. And again, this one, and this was kind of what threw me a little bit for the name of the moon. It makes total sense, but I was like, how do I incorporate with these aspects? And so that's where I kind of got a little hung up, but it's okay. But what it is the Sea Mother's moon, right? So we have to remember that the moon is designated to Cancer. So this is the Cancer full moon. This is the moon at its zenith, right? So not only is it the moon in Cancer, but it's not a balsamic moon. It's not a new moon. It's a full moon, which is full energy, right? Full reflection. And so we have all the beautiful things that come with the moon, right? Deep feeling, emotions, nourishing, nurturing, coming out, and sometimes going in too, and just like going, okay, I need to pull myself in and process and feel, but away from the world, and that's okay too. And that's the more empowering aspects of this moon. So be on the lookout for lots of emotions and feelings, and just feel them and process them and see what comes to the surface. This is a great time to honor the moon. If you do rituals, like go out, take a look at it, just enjoy it and just see what comes to the surface, right? We know that the tides and everything else are very influenced by the moon, and this is a time where you'll really feel it instinctually, intuitively, and you also might get intuitive hits at this time, right? Cancer is very intuitive, the moon's very intuitive. There might be some information coming in. Pardon me. With that said, though, the Sea Mother's moon is not so much like when we talked about the Taurus full moon a couple months back, and that mother, if you remember, was the mother who said, if I have 4 children and I have, a loaf of bread, it needs to be split equally 4 ways. It doesn't get to go to 3 children. That's not how it goes, right? Very fair and practical, but it's like an all or none, like this needs to be how it needs to be, and can seem cold, but yet it's like making sure everything continues on forward, not just 1 or 2. The Sea Mother is a little different. The Sea Mother, not as practical at times, really loving, really nourishing, but can maybe like be a little more prone to like mood shifts, right? Mood swings, and also may play favorites. So this mother may be like, I love this, whatever. You could say child, and it doesn't have to be a woman. Remember, it's the nurturer. So just think of this as the nurturer goes, okay, I'm gonna give this all that I've got, and all the light and food and nourishment and love. And then there's maybe a sibling, and it's like, oh, here's some things, but not so much. So that energy might be present at this moon. And just kind of even to go further, there was the mothering moon, I think the mother-daughter moon at the new moon that started back in June that we talked about. And that was like a young mother, right? And like kind of a neediness to be a mother. This mother knows what it means to be a mother though too. And it's, maybe not so wrapped into being a mother. It's like, I am what I am. And sometimes this mother makes mistakes. And I think this is also a good time for all of us to honor our mothers in whatever way that is, or the nurturer in our life. And just, even if they're not around, or even if it wasn't the best relationship, go, I see you as a human being. You did the best you could. And mothers aren't always perfect. And I feel like even though seeing mother is so nourishing, nurturing, that it reminds us that like there's mothers aren't perfect, and we have these expectations and ideals and illusions and fantasies that sometimes aren't fair to the mother. So on this moment, and if you are a mother, maybe be kind to yourself and try not to be so perfect, and just say, okay, I'm going to feel this and do my best as well. I think it's a really important thing for many people. And for me especially, I really hold it near and dear to my heart. I feel like once people realize that we're all people, no matter what role we have in life, we can be kinder and gentler to ourselves, and then we can grow and, move on. So then, with that, let's kind of move into, I looked at some of the Sabian symbols and the information and the keywords for the 16 degrees. So the moon, not that this matters to you, but like the moon and the sun are both at 16 degrees, one in Cancer, one in Capricorn. And I thought, okay, what are keywords, energies for this to kind of pull it together? And the Cancer moon is self-competency and continual examination. And it also is personified as personal control and organization of the self, so that the self is ready for anything. So for me, this full moon, and I'll explain the sun in a second too, is kind of like we're getting ready for something and making sure we can pivot, right? And pivot and see things and like constantly adjust, but like, and not in like a neurotic way, just like, okay, is this coming? All right, well, I was kind of ready for that because, I'm taking things in, I'm taking experience in like in an intuitive way. Now, the hard part of this is that we may feel overwhelmed, especially potentially due to emotions, because, right, it's the moon in Cancer. We might freeze because of our imagination, seeing so many things. It's like, I can't do this. I don't, which way do I go? What do I do? Try not to get bogged down in the imagination and the excess of the imagination. So then moving into the sun, 16 degrees again, but at Capricorn, right? You could say the mother, the father, the nurturer, the disciplinarian, whatever, right? The sun's keywords is practical experience, right? Capricorn, practical experience, but again, another constant adjustment and to everyday potential. So it's not trying to assess every little thing, but it's constantly trying to adjust for what can possibly be, but like it's a potential thing, like like building that foundation, like how can we get this going, getting it bigger. And really it's action married with skill too. Like I bring this with this, and this is how I can build this. I've got the bricks, I've got the mortar and the knowledge, I'm going to do this, right? And the harder part of this is that we could also want to control everything. So again, like we have this, like we're ready for anything. We have the skills, we have the tools. How can we both, so this is the challenge and the gift, tap into the intuition and the things we've experienced and make sure we pivot, but also bring our skills in, and like we're gonna, I've got the instinct, I've got the feelings, and I've got the tools and skills and the practicality, and boom, like make something beautiful. The hard part is don't freeze up, try not to control things, try not to limit yourself, and try not to get lost in your imagination, right? Ups and downs to the situation here. And remember, this is setting the stage for energy that will unfold. And so remember, this is a full moon, and the full moon is full potential. And with this, it's often a good time to release. And so we can try and release control. We can try and release, I don't want to say anxiety, but like, getting lost in our thoughts, and especially possibilities. Like, well, this could happen. Let it go. And in this case too, like maybe let go of the emotions and feelings that need to be processed, but also if you're holding on to ones that need to be let go of. This is water meeting earth, and this is a great time, right? Cancer, water, moon, and then the sun and an earth sign, to be able to, they can marry and you can grow a seed, right? This is a nourishing time, and if we can let things go, you have that possibility. It's also a time of erosion, which means, letting things go again. Like, where does Earth need to be a little more flexible? Where are you maybe a little too stringent, maybe a little too stable? Hope, we all have it in certain ways. I mean, a few people may not, but by and large. And then where maybe we like a little too emotional, just flopping around. Both of those things are really important to think about. As far as aspects, I can go into a lot of them, but like it's a lot of harmony, honestly, besides that being a full moon. And it's more harmonious than I've seen in a long time. So I'm grateful for that. It doesn't mean things can't happen that are stressful, but what I do see is that Uranus is positively aspecting both the sun and the moon. And with the sun aspect and us rethinking about our structure, I feel like it's going to bring in our new sense of value and what we value into the foundation. And it can be material things too. It doesn't have to be wealth, right? It can be of actual, like, I value the earth now and I want that to be part of my foundation of living. Like, I'm now not going to waste water, waste food, things of that nature. And then Uranus does have a positive aspect to the moon. However, I feel like it could be good. It could be like helping us like find unique ways to express our emotions and feelings. I could also see it making us feel like it's pretty erratic, let's be honest here, and like unexpected feelings coming out could be around our values. So a little bit of a caution with that. I mean, but if it comes up, it's meant to come up. Just try to be graceful with yourself and graceful to others, but don't let yourself get hurt. And what else did I have here too? I think those are the main aspects that I feel like I wanted to talk about because there's a lot of harmony, things going on. I think we want to get out and move and do things and, we'll be a little stunted, but it's still overall, I mean, we have like, even if we can't get everything done, it's like, oh, like you can kind of feel like the corner's going to turn, even though we're in the dead of winter here in the Northern Hemisphere. And there will be some probably pent-up frustration with that, right? And the responsibilities that Capricorn brings too, because Capricorn can be a little heavy sometimes, but I feel like the light's kind of starting to come back in. And hey, we passed the solstice because the light is starting to come back in. It may not be a ton, may not be every day, but it's coming back, right? It always comes back. And until the sun dies, pardon me, or the earth, it's going to come back. So with that, key things to think about and work on. It's a great day to take care of others and let others take care of you. Nurture and nourish, right? Feel, emote, restore, rest, tune into the moon, and just reflect and let go. And just enjoy what it is to be in the glory of feeling and intuition and nourishment. It's fantastic. With that, I'm Jennifer at Eureka Astrology and Healing. If you like what I'm doing, hit like, subscribe, check out my website. I do astrological charts, I do herbal consultations, I do oracle readings, do a bunch of other things too, but I hope you enjoyed the reading and you just, like I said, snuggle up under a blanket and take a look at the moon. May the stars guide you and the plants ground you. Ciao for now.